Welcome students. So today we will discuss the inorganic chemistry part, that is p block elements, and in that case we will discuss about the group, that is group 13 and 14. So first we have to know the p block elements. So as we have already discussed that p block elements means the periodic table has been divided into S block, P block, D block and F block elements. So first two periods there is S block elements, then with a gap of 10, that is D block elements, next we come across the P block elements, that is from 5 to 10 or 13 to 18. So in that cases the p block elements constitutes the p atomic orbitals in which it is having 6 electrons. Individually 1 electron is increasing up to 10 or next period increasing up to 18. Like that we have discussed, or we will discuss about the p block elements in that case. So you see here so from group 13 to 18. Now we will discuss the periodic table, that is from boron it is 13 periods, then carbon 14, then nitrogen 15, then oxygen 16, then fluorine 17, and that is neon or 18, that is helium, excluding the helium in the last period. So you see that 6 groups in that case 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. These are the 6 elements in which there is increasing p orbital electronic configuration. So we will start this 13 period, that is 13 group, which includes the, in case of this, as we will learn that the metallic character decreases with increasing the atomic number. So in case of a boron, it is a non-metal and metal, both is having that character, but it includes in the non-metallic character, and then in the above cases they are non-metals. So the p block elements of first group, that constitutes the that is the bridge between metal and non-metals. So it is having the non-metallic character up to last, and in beginning there is the metallic character, non-metallic character, both are there, and that also constitutes some elements, that is metalloids. Metalloids means partially metals and partially non-metals. So we will discuss about this, and you see that the number of electrons is increasing in the p orbitals, and it is having S, Ns, Ns2, Np 1 to 6, that is the general configuration of the electronic system. So in that cases, as we will learn the boron family, carbon family, nitrogen family, oxygen family, and the halide family, and lastly the zero group elements, that is the non. So in this case as we will discuss the group 13 elements. Group 13 elements constitutes of boron, aluminum, gallium, indium and thallium. So in that cases you see that the atomic number of boron is 5. Atomic number of boron is 5. We will discuss this. Atomic number boron is 5, aluminum is 13 and gallium is 31, indium is 49 and thallium is 81. So in that cases you see that from first boron to aluminum there are 8 difference electrons, and from that it is having the 18 electrons, and further it is 18 electrons, and then it is 18 and plus 10, that is 28 or 32 electrons are there. So the electronic configuration as we have obtained, that is NS2 NP6. So in that case we will obtain two S2 2P1, 3S2 3P1, 4S2 4P1, 5S2 5P1, 6S2 6P1. So along this we will see that there are 3 electrons in its outermost orbitals, that is the valence electrons present in the outermost orbitals, and atomic mass also increases. Atomic mass also increases, that is from 10.81, 26.6898, 69.72, 114.82, then 204.38. So you see here the atomic mass also increases, atomic radius also increases, like it is 88, 143, 135, 167, 170, and the ionic radius also increases, 120, 140, 150, like that. So and accordingly the electronegativity also decreases from 2.0, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 and 1.8. Melting point of this also increases, boiling point, melting point also both are increasing in that cases. So as we will learn, so boron is a typical element. It has got 3 electrons in the outermost. So oxidation state or valence electrons, oxidation state it is having +3. All are having +3 oxidation states, but it is exclusively for boron only +3 oxidation state is available, and for aluminum, gallium, indium and thallium there is +3 along with +1 oxidation state are permissible. +1, +3, +1, +3, oxidation states are also available. So, as we will discuss all these things, the ionic radius, electronegativity, oxidation states. Further, in that case of oxidation state, we will obtain the negative oxidation states also. Sorry. So, as we will obtain or we will discuss about the oxidation state and electronegativity. Electronegativity decreases from boron to thallium, and oxidation state we will having the permissible oxidation state +3 exclusively for all elements, and it is, as we will learn, that boron is a non-metal, whereas aluminum is metal, and the metallic character decreases, sorry, metallic character increases from boron to thallium, but and as because in down of the group the metallic character increases and non-metallic character decreases. So, along this all these elements, as we will learn about, the boron is a non-metal, aluminum is metal, and the metallic character increases in that case. But aluminum, sometimes it is the reactions resembles with some reactions of the boron. So, that is why it is a bridged element of non-metal and metal properties. Then the ionization enthalpy, as in case of the non-metallic character, it is extremely high. For boron, the ionization enthalpy is high or maximum, and it decreases along the group from boron to thallium. And considering the ionization enthalpy of first one, second and third one, that is delta H1, delta H2, delta H3. So, the sum of all the it is maximum in case of boron, and it decreases from boron to thallium. So, and the ionization energy delta H1 is maximum and minimum, and then delta H2 is more than that, and delta H3 is also. So, delta H3 is maximum in this case. That means the sum of all the ionization enthalpies will give the maximum in the boron element. Now, coming to the properties of group 13 elements. Group 13 elements properties. In that cases, as you have learned that the boron is a non-metal. Boron is a non-metal. and having high ionization energy, high ionization energy, and maximum +3 oxidation state. So it is available in the crust, earth crust, very it is a hard and forms two allotropic forms, hard and having allotropic forms. That is boron 10 also, it is available, the boron 10, and boron is having very soft metal and it is strong crystalline structures, strong crystalline, and other elements are metallic properties and are soft. Other elements excluding boron are soft metals. We will see that the gallium in normal conditions it is solid, but in summer it is a liquid. In summer it is liquid because the melting point of gallium is 303 Kelvin, and the rest of the elements are high melting points and they exist in the solid forms. Then coming to chemical properties. In this case, because of small size, because of small size, and first ionization energy is very high. First ionization energy is very high, and they form the covalent compounds. And aluminum is highly electropositive. And the group, all other groups are down the groups due to the shielding effect of D and F orbital configuration, they are increasing the effective nuclear charges. So +3 oxidation state is very common, and they form the tri-nuclear or tri-oxidation compounds. Suppose, and it forms trivalent state, that is boron trichloride, aluminum chloride, like that. So aluminum chloride, like that. So +1 oxidation state also available for other elements from aluminum to others. So only that the thallium having predominant thallium has predominant +1 oxidation state. Oxidation state. So, and it is seen that the boron compounds, they are deficient in electrons, so they form Lewis acids or boron compounds, and aluminum compounds also give Lewis acids. Suppose we will take boron trichloride. It accepts lone pair electrons from ammonia, lone pair of electrons, and forming the tetrahedral structure, that is, it is a planar, triangular planar structure. It is a tetrahedral. And similarly, aluminum also having a bridged structure of aluminum trichloride. Generally, it is having a double salt. So, that is a dimer, aluminum, it is a dimer, the aluminum chloride. It is a dimer structure forming, that is, two chlorine atoms are bridging with the two aluminum atoms, so that it is giving a dimer molecule. And the trivalent compounds, they are hydrolyzed. Suppose the trichlorides are hydrolyzed to form the tetrahedral species, like metal OH4 minus. It is a tetrahedral species. Suppose we will take the aluminum chloride in acidified aqueous solution, it forms aluminum sorry 6 molecules like that. So, it is a complex hydrolyzed complex molecule. It forms with the hydrolysis of or hydrolyzed with the aluminum trichloride. Aluminum trichloride is also a Lewis acid. So, reaction with the air means oxygen. So, boron is unreactive with the oxygen. So, boron is unreactive with oxygen, but aluminum gives a layer. Aluminum reacts with oxygen forming aluminum oxide, that is, first it is giving a layer in outermost surface, then it is unreactive. So, aluminum reacts with the oxygen forming aluminum oxide, So in that cases what happens, the aluminum oxide whichever is formed, that gives a layer in the outermost surface and further reaction is restricted. And for taking this will generally gives two forming, that is a substance, solid substance, and you see the E is the element, E is the element forming the metal oxide or elemental oxides. The nature of the oxides in the down the group, that is the from boron to thallium, it is acidic, the acidic property decreases. Boron trioxide is acidic, and further we will see that the oxides of aluminum and gallium, oxides of aluminum and gallium are amphoteric. Amphoteric means neutral, that means it gives the acidic property and the basic properties. Amphoteric, and beyond that the indium and thallium, they are basic. Oxides of indium and thallium are basic. Then reactivity towards acids and alkali. Reacts with acids and alkali. So boron does not react with acids and alkali. Boron does not react with acid and alkali. Whereas the the aluminum dissolves in mineral acids. Aluminum dissolves in mineral acids. Mineral acids and aqueous alkalis. Aqueous alkalis. So aluminum dissolves in HCl. Mineral acid means HCl, sulfuric acid, nitric acid. So aluminum plus HCl in aqueous medium forming that means it gives the hydrogen gas. However, concentrated nitric acid it is passive, that is aluminum is passive. Similarly, aluminum reacts with the alkalis, that is liberates dihydrogen also. Aqueous medium. It is sodium tetrahydroxo, sodium tetrahydroxo aluminate 3, and it liberates the hydrogen gas. Then reactivity towards halogens, reaction with halogens. Reaction with halogens. These elements react with halogen to form trihalides. All the elements react with halogens forming trihalides. That is, the element plus the halide, X is halide forming. So halide means X is fluorine, bromine, iodine. So all these trihalides are covalent in nature and hydrolyzed in water. So all hydrolyzed in water means they form tetrahedral so the monomeric trihydrate accepts the ammonia molecule, as we have that gives an Lewis acid BF3 NH3 that accepts this lone pair of electrons and forming adducts, and it is represented as BF3 NH3. Now we will discuss about the compounds of boron element. Compounds of boron. Let us discuss about borax. So in case of borax, as we in practical, so we have learned the borax bead test. Borax bead test means taking the borax in a platinum loop and heating this loop in Bunsen burner, then touching to with any compound and further showing into the Bunsen burner, that gives a change in color, and accordingly we can distinguish or we can recognize which element or which basic radical is there corresponding to the color. So borax is N2B4O7 10H2. It is the borax. So practically the compound can be written as B4 Na2 O5 O5 OH 4 8H2. So it dissolves in water, forming the alkaline solution Na2 B4O7 with water forming sodium hydroxide and orthoboric acid BO3 orthoboric acid. It is so on heating, as I have discussed the practical thing. So on heating, borax forms losses its water molecule and further it swells up, and on further heating it gives a transparent liquid. So borax on heating it gives sodium metaborate, further heating it gives the liquid plus boric acid, boric anhydride. So this portion, that is a glass type liquid which is solidified into glass material and gives a bead, and when it touches with other chemicals and further heating it changes its color, and accordingly you can recognize which cation is there in the salt. Then orthoboric acid. The formula is H3BO4. It is a white crystalline solid, white crystalline solid, and having a soapy touch. And sparingly soluble in water. On heating it is completely soluble. On heating with water, completely soluble. And on acidifying it in aqueous, it forms. So it is prepared by acidifying with aqueous solution of borax. So when borax, as we previously learned that borax with mineral acids actually the orthoboric acid is represented like this. So it is a alkaline solution, and also it is also prepared by hydrolysis in water with dilute acids. And boric acid is a weak monobasic acid. It is weak monobasic acid. On heating, So boric acid also acts as a Lewis acid when it is treated with water. It forms or it accepts the hydroxyl group from the water molecule and forms a complex compound. On heating, the orthoboric acid forms the metaboric acid H3BO3. On heating, it forms metaboric acid and further it forms boron anhydride, that is boric oxide. This is boric oxide, this is metaboric acid, and it is orthoboric acid. Then coming to next, diborane. Diborane, the molecular formula is like this, that is the structure like the ethane molecule. So it is having or it is boron hydride, it is prepared by lithium aluminum hydride. When BF3, boron trihalide, is treated with lithium aluminum hydride, it forms diborane. And in laboratory it can be prepared from the oxidation of boron hydride with iodine. Boron hydride with iodine forming but industrially it is prepared with sodium hydride. The boron chloride or boron trifluoride reacts with sodium hydride at 450 Kelvin and diborane is a colorless gas. It is a diborane it is a colorless gas and toxic in nature. Colorless gas and toxic in nature. So when it is exposed to air, it catches fire. When exposed into air, catches higher. So releasing enormous amount of energy. So B2H6 boric oxide and delta Heg minus 1976 kilojoules per mole. And borans are hydrolyzed by water to give boric acid. And releases hydrogen gas. This is boric acid. So on reaction with ammonia, diboran gives the initially an adduct, and then further heating it gives borazine. So for first and further heating it gives borazine. Borazine is like a benzene structure, that is alternative boron and nitrogen having like this. So and the structure of diboran is as it is borazine. So two boron atoms are bridged with two hydrogen atoms. That means the hydrogen atom is bridged, one hydrogen is bridged with the two boron atoms. So it is 2 electron and 3 nuclear system. So 2 center and 2 electron bonds are there, and like that BH B bonds and another is BH bonds. So there are 4 terminal hydrogens and 2 bridged hydrogens. Four terminal hydrogen and 2 bridged hydrogen. Then the uses of boron and aluminum. Uses. So first, boron. Boron is used as fiber making due to low density and low electrical conductivity. The boron isotope is used for nuclear industry. As control rods. It is also used to manufacture glass. Glasses like Pyrex glasses and glass wool, Pyrex glasses, glass wool and fiber glasses. And the aqueous solution of orthoboric acid is used as antiseptic. Aluminium is a bright silvery white metal. Bright silvery metal and high conductivity, that is why it is used as the preparation of utensils. So the conductivity power is more than that of copper, and that is why it is used in electrical appliances. It is used to prepare electrical appliances. The alloys of aluminum with copper, zinc, silicon, magnesium forms the utensils and packing materials. packing materials. This much is of the group 3 elements, that is the boron family, and we have discussed about the compounds of boron and aluminum. Next we will go to the group 14 family. Thank you.